watching Newsday. Welcome back. Now on with the stories. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced closure of the country's 20 land ports. This followed a spike in the COVID-19 cases in the country and government's findings that many were infected at the borders while waiting to be processed and due to people arriving without a confirmation of their COVID-19 results. This is one of the 2 new regulations that have been added to the country's level 3 lockdown regulations, which have been extended to February 15th. The second is the amendment of the curfew by an hour as it moves from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Meanwhile, Minister Jackson Mthembu has become the 4th member of the executive to test positive for coronavirus. Mthembu was tested on Monday after displaying symptoms, the presidency said. He has gone into quarantine along with everyone who came into close contact with him. But the minister tweeted that he had abdominal pain. Let's cross live now to Johannesburg to discuss this development in South Africa as public affairs analyst Clive Ramathibela joins us now. Clive, glad to have you join us on Newsday. All right, Clive, South Africa is locking 20 land ports of entry to prevent COVID-19 infections until the 15th of February. I have four posers for you. One, will that do the trick? Why did government decide on this line of action? What will be the likely effect on business? And then, is there a likelihood of extension? Will this do the trick? Why did the government decide on this line of action? And what will be the effect on business?
It's a very tough question that you're asking me. Obviously, I'm not anywhere close to the politics behind the standoff that's taking place currently in the country. What we do know is the sophistication that the president has to deal with in balancing 2 angles of one, the health status of the country, and also keeping in mind that he has to also sustain the business and the economy, which is under tremendous amount of pressure and in pretty dire straits. So what these protocols and rather these principled ideologies, which are very good for the good of the country, for the health of the country, you've seen spikes in new coronavirus infections. And so he's trying to curb the line and make sure that this second wave does not leave us worse than where we were in the first wave. However, the detrimental issue here is, will the economy be able to survive it? And that's the question that, unfortunately, even the greatest Sangoma on the African continent cannot give an answer to.
Okay, well, Clive, perhaps you can give an answer to this. Help us rationalize the balancing act, as you put it, that's going on in some of these choices. So I'll read for you. It says, gyms, restaurants and museums are open, but beaches, lakes and public parks are shut. You would think it would be the other way around. So could you help us understand the rationale behind this?
That's why they sometimes say that maybe Ramaphosa is more a president for white South Africa as opposed to black South Africa. Some people feel that way very strongly, by the way. And so what you see is the business that seems to be really being hit hard, that's really feeling the pinch, is the small, medium enterprises, of which the majority is black-owned business. And so the beaches, for example, where you expect that people will actually be allowed to go out because there can be some kind of controls be put in place. That's not happening. Why is the reason behind it so very much politicized? It's simply because it seems like, and it's unfortunate. I'm not saying that that's how it is, but it unfortunately looks like the president is siding on the side of poor black people and going against them and their businesses, whereas the white counterparts seemingly are doing relatively well despite the heavy restrictions that have been put under level 3 lockdown. So it's unfortunate, but the reality is black business is feeling the pinch and they're the most hit hardest when it comes to these kind of issues.
Let's talk about alcohol. We've talked about it before, Clive. I hope that will start a black business too. To what extent does this encourage contracting or spreading the virus? You know, the Association of Alcohol, is it that people that consume alcohol, they've come out to say, lift the ban, and government is saying, no. Talk to us about this.
There's 2 reasons why the alcohol ban has worked. One, because there's been less volume of people going to hospitals because of injuries that are contained because of stabbings, because of car accident, because of drinking and driving, and also because people are just they seem to misbehave. I don't know if it's a South African issue, but seemingly that people, when they are under the influence of alcohol, they let their guard down, and that's why government has taken the step. But 30% of South African black business that is relying on alcohol, on the alcohol industry and the sale of alcohol, has been hit hard. They've already lost 100,000 jobs just in that sector because of these restrictions. So it sounds irrational, because South Africa is the only country technically in the world that has also put an alcohol ban. The reason is because when you cut it out, and this is a very good example, my brother and sister, listen to me, the 1st of January, this is after New Year's Eve, when we have most celebrations of the New Year in South Africa. Baragwanath Hospital, the biggest hospital in the Southern Hemisphere in the world, did not have any new casualties on January 1. That is the first time ever in the history of the new democracy, and even 54 years before 1994, that has ever happened. That just tells you that if you don't have alcohol and you have restraints on alcohol, you can't really stop people from going and occupying hospitals, which will allow the hospitals to have more capacity to handle the pandemic.
Yes, actually, you took the words out of my mouth. I had it noted here, Chris Hani, Baragwanath Hospital, empty for the first time on the New Year's Day. And I was just going to say, could that then make the case going ahead for government or the states getting more intervention, or intervening more into controlling social behavior? Because like you say, if the pressure on the health services are down, then it means they can divert attention to somewhere else. But that's just by the side. How are people responding to these constraints?
No, well, and I'm one of them.
Yes,
But,
you are.
You know, it's which one of the two evils, my sister? Which ones of the two evils? Here's the issue. The issue is that because of the behavioral patterns, you cannot argue the science that it does make sense to curb down alcohol. The issue is, this is a democracy. It's not autocracy. It's not a communism a government. It's not a socialist government. And so you don't want to control people and even take away the choices of what to have and what to drink at the same time. Yes, you need to have controls, but these controls can sometimes eat away from people's very own rights to practice what they want.
Clive, I'm curious. KwaZulu-Natal, the province, is the highest or entertain the highest number of cases. Why is this so?
Early on, my brother, to be honest with you, we really realized the issue with because so most visitors do visit because of its warm waters and its warm beaches, and because they love the fact that there's a very vibrant tourism sector in that area. So a lot of foreigners, in actual fact, if you read back to the root cause of the spread in South Africa, it started in actual fact in KZN, brought to you by the German tourists that had visited there, who stayed in the country for another month before they could be allowed to go back. So that challenge continues even to date, and we're hoping that KZN can continue to fight. But it just seemingly is that the people there just love to have fun. They say, come to have fun, come to KwaZulu-Natal.
All right, Clive, thank you so much for your interesting analysis.